from the bubble, Reginald Aloysius Jr. the Third. How you doing?
Theodore, my Danets. I have missed you guys.
What kind of room you got there?
A room.
Is it a suite?
It's a corner room / suite.
Okay.
Beautiful view. Look, no complaints on my end. We get basketball tonight, so I'm rolling with the punches here.
All right. So you've been quarantined.
I've been quarantined. I've been tested twice. I've been negative twice.
Yeah.
So I get to play tonight. I get to play analyst. So I'm just excited that we have competition.
Okay, but what's it like? So when you leave what time do you leave your room for a 9:00 game tonight with the Lakers Clippers? And what's the protocol when you leave?
You'll be dressed up. I'll have mask on. I'll go downstairs. You'll have a temperature check before you leave to get on to, it's like a media shuttle that heads over to the facilities. I'll probably leave around 7:30. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes on this shuttle. That's composed of mostly the media. We're different from the players. We're housed differently. They're under a green zone. We're under a yellow zone. We're not as it's not as intrusive. So you'll get your temperature check. You'll head on over to the arena. You'll probably get another temperature check when you land. Everyone has a yellow lanyard, and I'll just go to the green room and start prepping with Kevin Harlan and our producers and get ready to call the action.
Who you been hanging out with?
Me, myself, and I mean, we've been having a great time. What's funny is my good friend, my best friend, my teammate, Mark Jackson, we're all here in the same hotel, but I haven't seen him. It's okay because we've all been tested and, we should be able to, but, we are in a hot zone here in Florida. And other than daily runs that I go on, I pretty much come back to my room, order room service, and I do have a beautiful view of a golf course. So,
but you don't play golf.
And I don't play golf, which is like a little baffling for me. But I have no bike, but I do have some Santa Cruz sponsorships down here. So I'm trying to get a bike to get on and ride a little bit. But mainly I've just been prepping and staying in my room.
All right. The main question is, have you had the wings at Magic City before, Reggie?
I've never had the wings at Magic City. And I'm trying to think, truthfully, have I ever been to Magic City? Now, I've been to a few spots, but I'm not sure I've ever been to Magic City.
You didn't have the wings there, but you may have been there.
I don't think I've ever been to Magic City. Now, I've been to maybe other places in Atlanta, just not Magic City. So I would be the wrong person to ask how the wings are.
Okay, but if Lou Williams is your teammate, how would you react to that?
Certainly it's a distraction, especially in these unique environment in the setting that they're in. It's certainly a distraction. Is it a big deal? Personally, to me, no, but it's an unwarranted distraction on a team that absolutely has a chance to win a championship this year. So would I probably look at him cross-eyed? Yeah, but personally, to me, it's not a big deal because he is so important to our team. I probably would have a conversation, but it's at the end of the day, to me, it's not that big of a deal. It's more of a distraction for the other guys that have to answer the questions about it.
If I gave you Lakers or Clippers or the rest of the field to win the title?
I would probably take those two teams.
Okay. Yeah, I would too. But I'm wondering, who are we missing out on aside from the Milwaukee Bucks?
People keep sleeping on the defending world champs. I'm telling you, Toronto, in an environment like this with no home court advantage, and you just go out and play, and you've got experience, and you've got a team that's been together. And then as Juan, I know they're minus Kawhi Leonard, but I think we'll see a different and better version of Kyle Lowry. Pascal Siakam, the All-Star, has proven that he is a gamer. You've got size with Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol. And Fred VanVleet is an unbelievable player and shot maker, and they are well coached by Nick Nurse. No one wants to talk about Toronto. I would not be surprised if they come out the East.
We're talking to Reggie Miller. Reggie's on the call tonight. Lakers Clippers at 9 Eastern. Kevin Harlan will do the play-by-play. We were talking about Zion Williamson game-time decision here.
I'm a little surprised about that. Is it a game-time decision because is there an underlying health issue or because of conditioning? Because if it's conditioning and you're 18, 19, 20 years old, get out there and play. Yeah. We have an opportunity here. And I know they're 3.5 behind Memphis.
Yep.
Memphis has one of the most difficult schedules in these seeding games. And I believe you mentioned this, New Orleans has the easiest.
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity to be within that 4-game gap, to have a play-in game possibly, but also too, if you're Alvin Gentry and you're the Pelicans, you're trying to build a foundation. You're trying to build for the future. So are you going to necessarily win a championship this year? No, but let's build winning habits, playoff habits. Let's play at a high level, intensity level. And for me, that includes having Zion on the floor. So if he's hurt or injured, I can understand that. But if it's coming from a conditioning standpoint, I heard him comment, I could play 48 minutes if I had to. Well, let's test that out. Let's get it. He needs to be on the floor playing, Dan.
Yeah, I just don't know that he missed 12 days when he went home for the family emergency, then came back, he's quarantined. So that's 16 days, which feels like an eternity for an athlete in a season that has been so stop, start, and now you're down 16 games where you can't get out of your room. Even if you were at home, you're not working out the way you would if you were with your team. I don't know if he's on a minutes restriction.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
if it's a minute restriction, you still have to play him, right? Even if it's 5 to 6 minutes a quarter, play him. Play his way into shape because these other guys feed off his energy. And this is a young, scary team, New Orleans, along with Portland. I think those two teams are really going to make a push for that A seed and really push the Memphis Grizzlies. So it'll be interesting.
The Lakers and Clippers and their approach to these games before they get into the playoffs. What would be your approach for LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard?
If you're the Lakers, Clippers, Milwaukee, Toronto, and I'll probably even throw Boston in there, there's not a lot for them to play for in these seed-in games. So to me, health and finding a rhythm are the two most important things. So if you're LeBron and Kawhi, obviously they both are going to play tonight along with Paul George and Anthony Davis, who has got poked in the eye and is going to be wearing goggles tonight. Find a rhythm because these 8 games are going to go quick and they have to hit the ground running, getting ready for the first round. So staying healthy, finding a rhythm, cohesion. There's certain players not playing tonight. No Sweet Lou, no Montrezl Harrell, no Patrick Beverly for the Clippers, and then no Avery Bradley and no Rondo for the Lakers. So other guys are going to be in the mix here, and finding, if you're LeBron and if you're Kawhi, finding rhythm and balance with some of these other guys is just as important. So I think that's why they need to play and try to find some cohesion amongst one another.
After LeBron, who is the face of the NBA?
I would probably say James Harden. I would probably throw an up-and-coming Giannis because he will be the MVP this year, and he'll be back-to-back MVPs, and he's very personable. But I think it's a huge gap. I think once Kevin Durant comes back a little bit and starts to play, you could throw Steph Curry in there, but we don't see a lot of commercials. Right now, it's a clear-cut favorite that it's LeBron. But who's going to try to grab the mantle once he starts to depart from the game? And to me, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, it's a pretty big drop-off. And I don't know if it was that big a drop-off with Jordan because you still had Bird and Magic were still in the game. And, Bird, obviously, his talents were diminishing, though. But was it as big a drop-off, Jordan to the next guy in the face of the NBA as it is now with LeBron and the next guy?
Well, we had Shaq. Shaq was emerging.
Yeah.
You had AG, Kobe. I don't know if it was, Tim Duncan.
But a worldwide guy, though, because Mike was a worldwide guy.
I think Shaq is worldwide. I think Kobe was worldwide.
Yeah.
So, and to me, I think having a 2-time MVP from Greece, that's pretty worldwide to me.
But selling products, though, is when you're a guy that if you see him on TV, you go, oh, it's LeBron, or oh, that's Steph.
You instantly know, and you know their accomplishments, and you can understand that. But again, I think it's up for grabs. And I think Curry and what he has done and winning championships and MVPs, and he's such a great guy. I think that has helped, be very personable to marketers.
Yeah, I was just wondering that when LeBron goes, somebody's going to have to want to be that voice, to be that face, and you have to want it. Jordan was it, but I don't know if he wanted to be it. He was just so good and so popular. LeBron has kind of sought this out, that I want to be the spokesperson. I want to be the face of this league. I don't know if the Greek Freak is able to do that. Luka Doncic. Harden doesn't seem like that's something that he would aspire to do. Steph Curry might, but he's 33. Right. So, Anthony Davis is not that kind of guy. Kawhi's not that guy.
I think now you're starting to talk about players like Zion Williamson.
I know,
right? But
I know.
Are we going to see him? I mean, I think that's the league. Normally, they like to start marketing, some of these younger guys. And you mentioned Luka and Zion could be in that category as well.
We had Damian Lillard on the show last week, and I asked him, who's the MVP? And he said, LeBron. And I said, what's different about LeBron? And he said, he's just so smart. So now you get by. At what point does a player rely more on his intelligence, his basketball IQ, than his physical talents? And is LeBron there now where it's more about the mental than it is the physical?
Yeah, I do think he's there now, though he still at times shows flashes and glimpses of the 20-year-old years of LeBron James. But he's always been this smart. He's always been this talented. But I think once you hit that magic age of 31, 32, I think as an older player, I played until I was 38, 39. You start to rely on some of those life lessons that you learned in your 20s. And I think that's what LeBron, he has that base. That's something that he can revert back to. And though I do agree to a certain degree what Dame says, I think LeBron is the most valuable for his team. But in terms of play and the MVP, I mean, the numbers that Giannis has put up the last 2 years is something that we've never seen before. And you mix in his length and athleticism, and people say, well, he plays in the East. And it's, well, if memory serves me right, LeBron played in the East too for a long time, and no one held that against him. So we shouldn't hold because he plays in the East against Giannis as well.
Yeah, I think that they held it against LeBron because then he says, all right, I'm going to go West. He goes West. They have the best record in the West. He leads the league in assists. And like he's saying, all right, you want me to win championships? I'll go to Miami and win championships. Well, you need to go. You can't be a super team. All right, I'll go back to Cleveland. I'll win a championship. Oh, you did it in the East. Now let's go West. So he's done everything that people have asked him to do. And I think we love a story. The Greek Freak, it was a story the first year he won it. It's not a story this year. LeBron's more of a story, but you're right. The Greek Freak is the MVP. It's just writers and members of the media, they want to tell a good story. You can't tell the story of the Greek Freak again. We've already heard it. But LeBron, in reinventing himself in Los Angeles and the kind of player he is, that's why I think he's probably got more attention than he deserves.
And I think this is why, being in this bubble situation, again, and I can't stress this enough because I was able to go over to the arena and we, kind of did a mock action call of that Houston-Boston game a couple days ago.
Did you get to shoot in there, Reg? Because I was curious about the background.
We're not allowed on the floor.
Okay.
We can't go anywhere near the floor because remember, we can't interact with the players, the officials, or any game officials. So they're keeping us all separate. But there's not a lot of energy in there. And you, as a player, have to manufacture your own energy. I know they're piping in the virtual fans and they're having all the bells and whistles, but people at home, it is a little different. And I will say this, most of these guys are used to practicing in an empty arena. They all practice in their home arena when no one is around. So they're somewhat used to it. But it feels different playing at a high level type game with no fans. I want people to understand fans are so important to our game because it's that energy that they bring on certain plays. And something to watch during this next two and a half months. Fans, they may not want to watch the officials because on block charges, on travelings, when you hear the moans of a fan, sometimes that sways the officials. You don't have that now. So you're going to get a true sense of how officials calls games because they won't be swayed by the fans. They say they don't, but they do. You're going to get a true sense of the officials during this experiment.
I was wondering about the background because when I think of a home court advantage, it's that feeling when you walk in and you know where you are on the floor and it just looks comfortable. Nobody has a home court advantage, but I didn't know the way the basket is and the depth perception. Is any of that going to be an issue for these teams? It will not.
No, not for shooters, no. And I believe of the 22 teams, they've all at some point, there's 3 arenas that the games will be played at. I believe all 22 teams have had a chance to either practice or play at each one of these arenas. So they'll be familiar with their surroundings. I think the quality of play will be the same. It's just, players like Patrick Beverley and Montrezl Harrell, Marcus Smart, Alex Caruso, those guys, that's in their DNA. And that, to me, that's why they are so valuable. They will be so valuable in a situation like this to rally their teams when the energy is a little bit low. It's guys like that you have to have on the bench to kind of, get the rest, rally the troops around and get going.
What are you going to do the rest of the day?
We have a Zoom production meeting. Everything is Zoom now, baby. We have a Zoom production meeting after this, and I'll go get a workout in, and I'll do some more studying, and then again, I'll leave at 7:30, heading over to the arena for Lakers Clippers. Hey, this is my shirt. I want everyone. Take it like this. Another day in paradise. That's all we're going with. Just another day in paradise. And I know you're a big golfer, Theodore.
Here we go. A walk and talk. Here we go.
I'll just tease you a little bit.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's my view. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean.
We had Rudy Gobert on yesterday, and I said, did they give you a view of the Eiffel Tower at Epcot? And so he picked up his computer and took it over to the window, and we looked around. He goes, nope, that's not here. Not here. Not much there. But
look, I got to give kudos to the NBA. I know they're spending, I read somewhere, $180 million on this bubble-type campus situation. They've done everything first class. And I was a little apprehensive. Again, I'm coming from California all the way here, traveling commercial into a hot zone. I know California is a hot zone, but Florida is like volcanic ash hot zone.
Did you think about not doing it, given you have young ones at home?
I thought about that, but I also thought this is my job, right? And, we talked about it as a family, and they supported me, and I'm here in the bubble. So the NBA has been first class about this. And I truly, people ask, what's the best experience about being in the bubble? And I tell people, being tested twice weekly and knowing that you're negative. To me, that's the best thing about the bubble, is that I know I'm negative.
Well, you feel safer there than outside of the bubble.
Right. Yeah. I'm inside of it, and I feel safe. So that's the best part.